Hello, everyone. Hello. It's a minute or two, a minute after the hour, so I'm a tiny bit late. Great to be here with you. Thank you for joining me. Cheers. I'm aLex Levin, and we're here together to center, to arrive, to practice. I just heard a kitty nearby. Anyhow, get what you need. We'll be, as you see behind me, I've got the blanket spread out. We'll be on the ground. We'll be lying on the ground in a couple different shapes, and we'll get started right quickly. Let me rewind a sec. Thank you to all of you who join. I saw a new name today on the registration, Madeline, welcome, and Ann Catherine, Mary Jane, Nancy, Nina, Sandra, Lincoln, Lana, many of you. Steve is there, is here now with me. Thank you so much. If you're here live during this 10 o'clock Eastern Time USA hour, half hour, a chat would be lovely to know you're there. You can also, well, this is going to be changing. This will I'll segue into a little bit more information. I don't have much more information. I will pretty soon on the new system of checking in. Anyhow, I'm jumping from topic to topic too quickly, as is my pattern. Yeah, so thank you for joining me. It means a lot. I think I would do this even if nobody joined me. I love doing this. I love the community of it in a strange way. So coming up is when this new system comes in place. If you're already registered with Sun and Moon Studio, you've maybe seen that announcement on Annie's newsletter. I think you will have to register with Sun and Moon. So it means setting up a new ID, password, as we do with everything these days. And so then there should be a very easy way to just find this class at 10 o'clock or whenever, or you'll need to register for it. There won't be a fee, but you can give donations if you like. There will be donation options. And then you will have access to the videos for a certain time, which I'm not sure what that is just yet. So that's what I think is going to be happening. We'll find out more together soon. They're working on it. So in that newsletter, Annie has a lovely, lovely little short essay, which I will read along with another favorite poem of mine, as today we continue to say hello to all the parts of ourselves. And it's very easy to say hello to the things, or in a way, say hello to the things that are, to welcome the things that we feel are beautiful, comforting, fun, like those lovely flowers that I've kept going for about a week by cutting their stems and changing their water. It's a little harder to say hello to the things that are not so easy, and yet we engage with them. We engage with things like our headache or our chronic back pain or our particular little button in our relationship. We engage with them and we sort of get in a confrontation or I don't want you here. I want to get rid of you. We tend to have that kind of attitude toward those. And then another tendency is we tend to give a lot of our attention to all those things that are not going so well for us, that we don't like so much. And so our practice often with me here is to turn our attention to those things that, to the more that's here. So those thorns in our side can seem to take up a lot of space in our being. And yet, once we start to turn our attention to a piece of music that we enjoy, to the weather outside, to things that are bringing us enjoyment. We start to find and feel, wow, our capacity is immense. All right, all that, I wish now I had had us center before I started this, but let's lay down on the ground. And I am not going to join you for the first part of this, but I will. So make sure you're comfortable enough. It's enough padding. I have like a cushion nearby. I've got a block nearby. For the different positions, you may want some of those different things to support you. So, didn't come over there. So as you're transitioning to the ground, I'm going to pull my essay up here. Okay, so feeling the ground, coming to our ground, sound, breath, mantra of pointers. Sense the way your body receives the support of the ground. The way your body receives the support of the ground. And how we do that, just this marveling perhaps might be with you as you're sensing a heaviness of the head. And couldn't contrast with the heaviness of the feet. They might feel light in contrast to the feet. I mean, in contrast to the head. This is part of arriving. You can do this sitting and standing. Doing it lying down is so rich, because so much of our body, so much of the mass of our body is in contact with the ground. And this body is such a doorway to that wholeness that I mentioned. Is helpful for us not to live in so much suffering of what we perceive as negative, as difficult, as in conflict with us, or in seeming to want to harm us. So feeling where if you're, I'm assuming you're on your back. I didn't even specify that, but yes, you're on your back. Maybe your knees are bent, maybe they're not. Notice where your shoulders and arms are, the back of your ribs, the upper back, how that touches. And while you're noticing these sensory things from the ground in our gravitational field, notice your breathing. Notice how breath is moving you, even as you're probably pretty still. And how that breath touches so many parts of you. It travels in a certain way that we learn about breathing in a biology class, that it comes through the nostrils and trachea and into the into the branches that are I forget what, bronchioles, and finally into little sacs, I think, called alveoli, if I'm remembering. And then from there, I believe, is where this exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide. Is it carbon dioxide? Yeah, I think it is. Happens. Not monoxide, carbon dioxide. But that's sort of located to this face, head, throat, chest, upper back area, ribs, all the way down to our waist, really. But the movement of the wave of the breath coming in, the expansion, you can feel through your hips, perhaps even through your legs. If you're really paying attention, you might even feel through the soles of your feet and the arches of your feet. And not only paying attention, but as you sensitize yourself to, as you become, mm, come to know and feel, come to be able to sense your body in such a deep way. I was in a yoga class where, might have been a workshop where the instructor suggested not just the diaphragm. Sometimes we often feel the diaphragm of the breathing muscle, that main one that goes up like a jelly, a moon jelly, and flattens out, moves a little like a moon jellyfish. And then there's a similar diaphragm at the pelvic floor. There's one at the throat. There's one at the crown of the head, apparently. There's another you could imagine at the knees and at the arches of the feet. This might have been a Rodney Yee class. Name drop. And so notice how you have this sense of being here, how full that may feel at this moment in contrast to when we're not practicing like this. When we're not taking the time to draw our attention so fully to our body and its mechanisms. Finally, notice that you're hearing sound. Open to that, in addition to feeling the textures of the ground in your body in connection to feeling breath as its waves move through you, in and out. And there may be some sounds associated with your body and then with your close surroundings, perhaps a little from the room, from just outside the room. And there's ever new sensations, information, ideas, thoughts coming as we attend to ground, breath, sound. So take a few breaths, just being here in this position. This will be the meditation portion, will be at the end of each of our shapes today. So just listening, just being still, letting what comes come and letting what goes go. And if you find yourself at some point gripping, escaping through a story in your mind or might be some necessary checklist in your mind, celebrate that moment. And if possible, let that go, whatever it was, the clenching jaw, the wandered thought pattern, the holding on to maybe a discomfort or pain that's happening, something that you're just kind of wondering about it and fixating on it. Perhaps you can lessen it's there, just see it and give yourself a little space from it. And then slowly, I'll join you for this next part. Slowly, we will roll over to your side. Roll over to your side. So from your back, just roll on your side. Just however is comfortable to be here. You might like a pillow under your head or a pillow between your knees. Any of that is fine if you like. I've got my arm under my head, and I'll try to speak loudly enough that you can hear me. One of the reasons I'm sharing this practice with you is it's super helpful. It's what we do in life. It's a part of taking what we do in practice. It will naturally convey to our everyday activities outside the practice space. So just explore this and do any little adjustments to get this shape more comfortable. I've got my hand on the ground in front of me. You might have your arm on your body. You might even have your arm behind you. You might like that. I like that actually. I'm not sure if you can hear me so well, so I may come back up to sitting to just narrate your instruction. Make sure you're comfortable in the low back. Sometimes this can be not so comfortable, so I set a pillow, or I also have a block nearby. Between the legs can be a little more comfortable, and you can lean a little forward or a little back. Make it so that it's nice for you. Because as with the last one, we'll be here a few minutes. And you stay where you are as I come up to sitting, just so I might want to make sure that you hear me. Got my Halloween earrings on. There we go. And once again, use those cues of sound, breath, and ground. Oh, thank you, Steve. You were saying thank you for putting that in the chat that you could hear me well. Maybe I'll join you back on the floor. That's great. Thank you so much. Sound. And you can just be with one of those and let it get you into that quiet stillness. And as you see what's here, you may notice that it's supernatural that you're naming it. Maybe not all the time, but some of the time. And that's useful to see what name you give it. And if you like, we can bring in this practice before we go to the stillness silence piece of this shape. You can see, is that what I would name this? Is that actually what's here? So sometimes say you're on your side there, and as it was beginning to happen to me, there was a little feel of a compression in my back that was not that pleasing. Not bad, not painful at all, just a little uncomfortable. If I said compression, what was that actually? Before you change it or try to manipulate anything. And as you watch it and seek for just the right word for this unique, now fresh experience. You've never had it before. Maybe similar, but you've never stepped in the same river twice. Something is new. And also bringing our attention, bringing the light of our attention more fully. You might find, oh, there's There's a little compression, but there's also a warmth of my breath. See if that's more accurate. Your own audience will know. Yourself as audience will know. And then as you're ready, as I join you again, given your comfort, just be still here. And if as things come, you can see about less commentary, just watching. That's a particular practice that I call focusing when you give it that more accurate term. And now this meditation piece of just being here, just being. And some movement may happen, little tiny movements as your body settles, like a new house settling. You may feel some lengthening, some letting go. And if there is a part that arises, a part of you that's not comfortable, not happy, can you be kind of a combination, do a combination of being with it, letting it know you're there with it, and witnessing it, being with and witnessing. Witnessing. In that moment of witnessing, being with and witnessing, sometimes transformation happens. And it's fine if words are coming, just let them come and let them go. And stay for a few more breaths as once again I shift up to sitting, because this next one I'm pretty sure I'll need to be sitting up here for you. And start to transition when you're ready. If you're loving where you are, as you know, you have my permission to just be where you are. And your next shape will be lying on your belly. It could be lying on your belly with your one knee bent and your knee out to the side. Do you know what I mean by that? I will show that because that might be worth showing. It could be. Yeah, and being on your belly sometimes is not so easy for some of us. So it's this kind of partly on your side and then on your belly. So that can feel really nice for some of us. And for some of us, that's not so great. Or you can be completely on your belly. And here's something you can do if that is not so nice on your lower back. You need to put something. It can be a thin cushion or a folded blanket. And just put that under your pelvis. That can help just from everything from like your waist, just kind of under the lower belly, that area. That can be super helpful. And if neither of those positions are so great, I think of another way for you to do this. I don't know if I have a third one. You could roll onto your back and bring your knees to your chest, just for something So a different shape. So we have a different shape. So on your belly, or sort of on your belly with the leg out, inner leg, and somewhat in contact with the floor. I'm not going to have time for all my readings. I'll put them in the notes. And as you're in this position, I will read the poem by, and now you know what to do in each of these shapes. You check in with how it feels, how the ground is there for you, what sensations are coming to you, for how you're hearing and sensing what's around you, and or how breath is here. This poem is called Aimless Love. I've read it many times for this practice and others. Aimless Love. This morning, as I walked along the lake shore, I fell in love with a wren. And later in the day, with a mouse the cat had dropped under the dining room table. In the shadows of an autumn evening, I fell for a seamstress still at her machine in the tailor's window. And later for a bowl of broth, steam rising like smoke from a naval battle. This is the best kind of love, I thought, without recompense, without gifts or unkind words, without suspicion or silence on the telephone. The love of the chestnut, the jazz cap, and one hand on the wheel. No lust, no slam of the door. The love of the miniature orange tree, the clean white shirt, the hot evening shower, the highway that cuts across Florida. No waiting, no huffiness or rancor, just a twinge every now and then. For the wren who had built her nest on a low branch overhanging the water, and for the dead mouse still dressed in its light brown suit. My heart is always propped up in a field on its tripod, ready for the next arrow. After I carried the mouse by the tail to a pile of leaves in the woods, I found myself standing at the kitchen sink, the bathroom sink, gazing down affectionately at the soap. So patient and soluble, so at home in its pale green soap dish. I could feel its turning in my wet hands. I could feel myself falling again as I felt its turning in my wet hands and caught the scent of lavender and stone. So this practice has been one of turning our attention to everything that's here, not only our thoughts or commentary or imaginings, all the verbal language part of ourselves, but to the physical and the sensual, sensory, to the whole of ourselves. And so one, it is useful to turn to things that bring us that love, that joy, and make a little celebration of it, like in the poem he does, like we have with bringing our attention there, the light of our attention. And two, it's also valuable to bring that same kind of attention, the more open, broad, uh, well-lit attention of our awareness, from our awareness, from the whole being of ourselves, funneled through this instrument, and we have a choice of attention. Awareness is always there. We don't always choose it. We're focusing our attention somewhere narrow. And here we kind of hold whatever we're attending to in that light with a kind of a narrowness, a particularity, and yet open to everything that is also here. So bringing our attention like that to the difficult things often is at least a start of transforming them. I can't tell you how, but it happens in my experience. The relief that happens, the uh, letting go of what has been gripping us or we haven't been able to get out of, is it just happens. Sometimes it's just let go, there's nothing, and we move on. Or sometimes it's an insight. It's a, oh wow, I didn't see that. I didn't see the gift that was in there. Sometimes it tells us what's the next step we need to take care of this issue. So in any way, we get the answer from the wholeness. So, and one last thought about those, as we see gifts that at first don't seem like gifts. If you're on our Sun and Moon Yoga Studio, if you receive the newsletter, if you've signed up for that, and that's easy to do, you can read Annie's essay, Rainy Trees. And if you haven't signed up, it's easy to just go on sunandmoonstudio.com, and there's somewhere on that first page is a place to sign up. Sorry, I don't know specifically. And check out the website there for more of what we're offering as well. And I will see you here next week. If you're in the United States and some other places in the world, there's a time shift happening. Well, anyway, for the US, next Saturday night to Sunday, November 2nd, it'll be. So I will be here. It'll seem like 1 hour later, but we'll be rolling the clocks back. And what else? I think that's all for now. So I'll end with a bell. I didn't even bring you up to sitting, but take your time with that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And oh yeah, one last thought about that. I mentioned it, but so these shapes, as we take different shapes, just the doing of the practice, you don't really even have to consciously try to do this, but because we've taken different shapes as we do in our day-to-day activities, we're naturally connecting this practice into life off the cushion. Good thing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. See you next week.